Okay, so let's talk about the near future, say 2026, because by then, the way companies go to market is going to look fundamentally different. And no, we're not talking about just another app or some new piece of software. We're talking about a complete shift in how you coordinate your company's intelligence to actually win. So let's break down what that really looks like. This quote just nails a feeling that I'm sure a lot of you recognize. You've got these brilliant, hardworking people on your team, right? But for some reason, projects stall. Accountability gets blurry. And it's so frustrating. The thing is, it's not the player's fault. It's the broken system they're being forced to work in. And this is the critical insight right here. For years, we've basically used human effort, heroics, endless meetings to patch together these fragmented systems. But now, the rise of AI has thrown this giant spotlight on just how inefficient that really is. So the real opportunity isn't just about automating a few tasks, it's about finally fixing the broken connections that have been holding us back all along. So let's go ahead and formally name the villain of our story, fragmentation. And again, this isn't about individual teams failing. Nope. It's a system-level breakdown where research, messaging, sales, and marketing are all operating in their own little silos, losing critical context at every single handoff. And if you want to see the tangible cost of that breakdown, well, here it is. A staggering 46% of companies take hours, not minutes, hours, to follow up on a new lead. In that time, a hot opportunity can turn completely ice cold, all because of poor internal coordination. I bet this whole process looks painfully familiar. The research team creates a brilliant deck that just gets buried in a folder somewhere. A messaging doc is written and then never ever updated. The media team is off chasing clicks, completely disconnected from the actual story we're trying to tell. And the CRM, your single source of truth, it just slowly decays. At every single handoff, a little bit of that original, brilliant idea is just lost. So, what's the fix? Well, the answer isn't just another tool to add to your already crowded tech stack. It's a completely new operating model, one that's designed to solve this coordination problem at its very root. And this is the core concept. Just imagine specialized AI agents, each with a very clear job. One for research, one for positioning, one for campaigns. You get the idea. But they don't just work in isolation. They operate with a shared brain, a shared context, and really clear rules for passing information to each other. This is how you preserve that critical context that we just saw decay. This comparison is so important. A tool, it just automates one single task, right? And often, that just creates yet another silo. But this operating model, it orchestrates intelligence across the entire system. And look at the shift for people. Instead of acting like manual traffic ops, trying to connect all these broken pieces, humans are elevated to governors, making the big strategic decision. Okay, so let's break this down into its moving parts. This whole system is built around 4 foundational agents, and each one has a really specific job. So let's meet them. First up, we have the research agent. Think of this as the system's eyes and ears. It is constantly scanning everything, from sales calls to competitor websites. Its job is not to write copy, its job is to inform the entire system with what is actually happening in the market, right now. Next, we have the positioning agent. You can think of this one as the ship's navigator. It takes all those signals from the research agent and translates them into a coherent strategy. This agent is basically the guardian of your narrative, making sure you're not just chasing random trends, but adapting your story in a way that's consistent and strategic. The third agent is all about execution. So if the positioning agent is the navigator, the media buying agent is the one at the helm, actually steering the ship. It takes that strategic direction and finds the most efficient way to get that message to the right people. It's not deciding what to say, but how and where to say it for the biggest impact. And finally, we have the unsung hero of the group, the CRM hygiene agent. This agent's job is simply to keep the entire system honest. It makes sure the data everyone relies on is clean, it's accurate, it's trustworthy. That way, all your decisions are based on reality, not on messy or incomplete information. Okay, so this is probably the most important question. With all these agents running around, what's the role for the human team? Are we just watching from the sidelines? Not at all. In fact, our role becomes more critical than ever before. This is the big conceptual leap. Humans stop being the people connecting the dots and instead become the people who decide the direction of the dots. we transition from being traffic cops, stuck in the weeds of manual coordination, to becoming strategic governors of the entire system. And this happens at 4 very specific human gates. So the agents surface a signal, but a human decides, is this meaningful or is it just noise? The agents propose a messaging shift, but a human approves it based on brand strategy. The agents recommend a budget, but a human authorizes the spend. And most importantly, we, the humans, interpret the results and set the direction for what to do next. So what's the payoff for making this kind of shift? Well, it's all about achieving speed without sacrificing control. It's about creating a system that can adapt and execute really, really fast, but in a coherent, strategic way, not just creating more chaos faster. And the data absolutely backs this up. Just look at the performance of top quartile companies. That's the top 25% of performers. Their annual recurring revenue growth is accelerating, jumping from 78% to a projected 93%. This lift is directly tied to improvements in go-to-market efficiency, often driven by the exact kinds of systems we're talking about right now. And here's the financial exclamation point. The projected average ROI from deploying these agentic AI systems, that is, AI that can act on its own to achieve goals, is a staggering 171%. This isn't some small, incremental improvement. This is a total game changer for your bottom line. Now, this is a benefit that I think most people miss. It's not just about the external performance. Internally, this kind of system builds incredible confidence and alignment. When teams are all working from the same data and they see a clear, coherent strategy in action, they stop debating opinions and they start trusting the process. Belief in the mission just accelerates. And make no mistake, this is not some distant future we're talking about. The timeline is right now. Just look at these numbers. By 2026, 40% of enterprise apps will have these task-specific AI agents. By 2030, it's a nearly $25 billion market. The trajectory is it's undeniable, and the need to adapt is urgent. So we'll leave you with this one question. Take a really hard look at how your company operates. Does your success depend on individual heroics, on late nights and manual coordination just to bridge the gaps? Or is it built on a system of orchestration, one that's designed for speed, for coherence, and for intelligence? Because in 2026, the answer to that question will define the winners.